Everybody's a winner.
There you go.
At MAW, everybody was a winner that night, including Carmen DeSpirito, and what a great promotion.
Did you notice I have my Galactic Grappler shirt on?
Hey, I got one at home just like that.
Right.
That's a dandy.
We're going to try to get him beamed in. Beamed in because he said he'd like to be on the show.
They're going to beam him in.
That's right.
Like on Star Trek.
Yeah. Beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah, I bet you've even got a communicator. I bet you've got some little thing you flip open and you press it and you can talk to people with it. You're going to tell me that next, right?
I hope so.
They're called cell phones, I guess.
Yeah.
But can you remember when we were kids? They were communicators.
Yeah.
On Star
And they
Trek.
were like 5 times the size.
Well, no, communicators on Star Trek weren't that big. Communicators.
Oh, that's right.
They weren't that big. But, I mean, the fact that we now have our own communicators, everybody's got a communicator. It's kind of cool. Not to be rude and talk on the cell phone while we're on the...
No, that's
Mike Gratchner might call at any time, you know.
Mike Gratchner, which was also, he was in the book Wrestling at the Chase by...
Larry Matizak?
Yes.
Matizak?
That's right.
From,
Mike Gratchner.
St. Louis, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where I have the footage of Sam DeCero getting owned by the Captain Redneck himself.
Getting
Dirty
owned,
Dick
huh?
Dick Murdoch.
Yeah.
It was something else. It was fun. And actually, and I talked to Sam about it, and he said it was one of his first few matches.
Little known story, Sam DeCero will tell you, and he'll admit this, that a lot of his time in the AWA was spent getting beat by the Midnight Rockers.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And he will come up and tell you that even if he lost the match that night, even if he did not come up on the winner's end against the Rockers,
right.
Just to be able to sit there, just to be able to lay there in the ring and kind of regain consciousness and stare up at the lights and know that he was living his dream as a pro wrestler and maybe even going to go on to be a great pro wrestling promoter. Well, the rest was history, wasn't it?
Yes. I tell you, 20 years strong, fans. I'm telling you, Windy City, still for the training, you've got guys like Ripper Manson, Mike Anthony, Steve Boz. These guys showing you the ropes. You want to get a good training in and you're around the city, check out Windy City Pro Wrestling, and I tell you, and they're going to train you right.
Go to WindyCityProWrestling.com, and fans always go to ChicagoProWrestling.com for information on the mat, and if you can go to links and see footage from the show and all kinds of cool stuff.
That's right. I'm telling you, it's something else. And speaking of Windy City Pro Wrestling, 2 of the wrestlers we're going to see here in our main event, I think, grace the doors of Windy City Pro Wrestling.
They grace the doors, the rings, the ropes, you name it, the locker room as well, Nicholas H. Danny Dominion and Ace Steel.
That's right.
Taking on CM Punk and Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana, Scotty Goldman from WWE.
Yeah.
A short-lived stay there, but I got a big kick out of him. And I was just telling Nick in post-production, I didn't even know.
Where's Richard T's camera at? Uh-oh, he's making his, there it is.
I didn't even know that Colt Cabana, because we'd had him here on the show.
Yes.
We've played his matches. I've done play-by-play on his matches. When he came out as Scotty Goldman on WWE, I had no idea who this guy was. I was like, Scotty Goldman, he's kind of funny. Yeah. He reminded me of Barry Horowitz.
Yeah, I remember him.
He was funny. I got a kick out of him. I thought he was comical. Anyhow, Colt Cabana's short-lived career in WWE, but a long wrestling career in independent sports right around here. And CM Punk. Nicholas H., a lot of people are really saying right now, CM Punk is the success story of Chicago wrestling. I mean, I'm sorry. He's the biggest star to come out of Chicago wrestling. I mean, we can go head-to-head. You know I'm a Windy City guy.
Right.
But Windy City, who do we got? Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels.
Right.
Big star, really lauded as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. But is he as big a star as CM Punk?
Nah, I don't know.
I don't know either. All right, we'll save that for another show.
That's right.
We've got Danny Dominion and Ace Steel taking on CM Punk and Colt Cabana right here tonight on the mat. Dirty Dick Sin. And Nicholas H.
That's right.
He calls himself the Hillbilly.
That's right. I'm getting pretty good at this.
How about
As
that?
you see, Ace Steel.
You are, aren't you?
I'm trying anyway. There you go. Ace Steel, Danny Dominion there. And this was filmed at the Hillside Holiday Inn in Hillside.
You know what it is, Nick?
Yes.
Why you're feeling so comfortable. I work well with broomsticks.
Oh, thank you very much.
Am I a rat or what? I got Billy Wax gone, and I took his place. I'm meaner than ever.
I see that.
I'm just playing with you, Nick. You know.
That's right.
When he was on the show, all those years of blowing you, I just got tired of it. You know what I mean? I was, Nicholas H. Oh, he's doing this. He's getting the footage. He's driving Chris to practice. He's getting here to the shop. Blah, 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 blah. He's Nicholas H. Right?
I tried.
That Richard T's gone. He's dead. Wait a minute. Look at this.
Big spinning around, spinning over the top and around, and there he goes. Colt Cabana.
This is NWA Midwest.
That's right.
This has always been some great wrestling. Ed Schumann's got something to do with
Yes,
this group.
matter of fact, Ed Schumann was in partners with the Turbo Twins on this show.
Was he not?
Yes, he was, with Stephen Larry Turbo, the Turbo Twins.
I wouldn't trust him any farther than I could throw him, and that's probably not very far.
Yeah.
All right.
Big shout out to Ed. Hope you're feeling well. Hope everything is good, and hope to see you soon here on the Mat.
Is it true Eddie Schumann used to sell all the cigarettes to the guys in the power locker room?
Pretty much.
Got him smoking?
Oh, yeah.
You too. He's like the Fagin. He's like the Fagin of wrestlers. I will drag you down. Here we go.
Big armbar on Ace Steel from Colt Cabana. And it says this is actually when On the Mat started really getting in there. This is, as you can see, a 3-camera shoot. That On the Mat had the privilege of shooting.
Big bad Danny Dominion makes his way in there. Nicholas H. Danny Dominion's a tough dude.
Yes.
That's a big guy. Nah, he makes his look. Oh yeah, who's that referee? Who's that?
I
manager?
have some little rich snobby guy.
But it wasn't. He looks familiar, but it wasn't Joey Eastman.
No.
Because at first glance, I thought I saw Joey Eastman out of the corner of my eye. Okay, we got Colt Cabana in there with a nice, tight headlock on Danny Dominion. Danny Dominion back. You know what? He wore them same pants when I managed him at Bourbon Street. Yeah, Danny Dominion. I'm telling you, I think he could have played Wolverine. I was surprised when they got Hugh Jackman. I always thought Danny Dominion looked like the comic book Wolverine. Big dude and a heck of a wrestler. Now, Colt Cabana, another big dude, another heck of a wrestler, snaps him up for the suplex, makes the tag. Wait a minute, now is that CM Punk in tights?
Yep.
Wow. Look at this, fans. No, see, it was not actually, he's got the shorts on. CM Punk when he truly was a punk, a baggy, panted punk at that. Wait a minute. Trips and wait a minute. Who's got the 1, the 2? What's going on down here?
Well, I think they kind of tripped him up into each other, and not the good way either. There you go. CM Punk with another snapmare on Danny Dominion. There you go. Reverse chin lock, making him wave to the camera. Well, I tell you, what I can say, you see the stars of tomorrow today on the mat.
Yes,
and like
sir.
I says, this is CM Punk, and wrestling fans, you know who CM Punk is. And what can I say? He has been here on the mat before he made it to the big time.
That's a fact. We used to go see him wrestle over at the IWA Mid-South. Yeah. Well, yeah, LWF. IWA Mid-South at the Lincoln Center. I used to see him all the time. Saw some great stars through there. And, yeah, it's I got to say, my tenure here with On the Mat, I don't know how many years I actually been with this show, but I'm telling you, we have seen and met some really cool people and seen some great wrestling shows, and right down to getting to videotape Abdullah the Butcher at the Lincoln Center.
That's right. That was a fiasco night that night, man. Ugh.
Lucha Vavoom at the Congress, another one, another great night.
We had so much. I wish Lucha Vavoom would come back.
All the Battle of the Belts. I mean, you name it. My tenure at Chicago Wrestling and my tenure here at On the Mat's been nothing but a blast. And so
I'm
we're
glad that you're still a part of the show. It means a lot.
Well, thank you, Nicholas H. We have a ball here. We try and bring week in, week out professional sports, pro wrestling the way you really want to see it at the independent level right here on our forum for independent sports On the Mat. And wait a minute, we got CM Punk got his arm cinched up.
With Ace Steel, yeah.
Oh, my God, look at that.
And fans, promoters, wrestlers, valets, as you take a look at this footage here, you're looking at multiple angle shoot. Of course, we're doing the play-by-play on it. As Richard T has said before, we want your footage. But you know what? We don't want a handy cam from the fan, from a fan seat. We want professional stuff. If you want to showcase your promotion on this show, send us your best. Because if we put something on the show, we are not responsible on how we rip on it if it's bad.
And we're putting feelers out to everywhere. You've even gotten some stuff from out of the country, from what I understand.
Yeah, matter of fact, I've got a couple of things that I'm hoping that they'll get here pretty soon from Australia, England. I've got some stuff coming from the Carolinas and up on the East Coast. So it's, once they start coming in, we're going to be bringing independent wrestling from all across the U.S. and abroad.
Wow, look at this tight camera work right here tonight. We got CM Punk chopping away at Danny Dominion and Ace Steel. Oh, man, just clocked him. Wait a minute, Ace Steel with a big knee lift. Twist that arm around to CM Punk, who went on to be WWE champion.
Yes.
Not to mention two-time Money in the Bank winner.
And I tell you, from 2001, I think the quality of this footage is, very good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's something that I take pride in regards of keeping the archives fresh and clean, because you never know. Somewhere down the line.
God, I remember. I think that guy's in the NWA now. Yeah, I think that guy's in in Carmine DeSpirito's NWA to this day with that same gimmick. And he maybe even came out on TNA. I don't know his name now. I'm misinformed. I'm sorry we didn't have that information put this in pre-production. But nonetheless, fans, if you know who that guy is, go on the internet. Drop Nicholas H. a line at his...
And Headford 205 at Comcast.net, or on Facebook, or on MySpace, or at ChicagoProWrestling.com.
Now, these guys, I got to say, these guys are old school in that they all look like wrestlers.
Yes.
Because some promotions you go to, and it's cool to see lightweights from time to time, I like it, but nonetheless, if you're going to make it in the big time, you got to look like a wrestler. And generally, you want to have some size or something really special to set you apart from the pack.
Yes, definitely. I mean, just right now, sometimes I think the guys, they're pushing one kind of guy out. See, myself, like... Jim Lyman said, during the roundtable discussion, that you've got guys that look like you and I that don't have to necessarily look like the big buff wrestler. Some of these guys that don't have that body can still wrestle better than the guys that have that body.
So Jim Jesus was at the roundtable?
Yes, he was.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Jim Lyman, yeah. So is he still involved with AAW?
Very much so.
Oh, good for him.
Yes. And I got it on good authority, if I may say a line of yours, is that I will be getting a hold of some AAW footage pretty soon.
Good.
Thanks from Mike Pekovich. I appreciate it, Mike, to get us footage for the show.
Here we go. Ace Steel on the second turnbuckle. Danny Dominion in there taking care of business on CM Punk. Snatches him up by that hairdo. CM Punk had he looked different back then. He had that, looked more like a punk.
Yeah.
He looked like he's hanging out at the mall, and they just put some wrestling boots on and came to the match and started getting beat up by Danny Dominion.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Things have changed, huh? Hey, now is that Mike Figueroa? No, this footage is too new to be Mike Figueroa. The referee, you remember wrestling
yeah.
Mike
Oh,
Figueroa.
yeah, Mike, he was like the very old, fragile old
thin Mexican gentleman with the bald head for AWA. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know who this gentleman was. Matter of fact, if I'm thinking correctly, through the course of the NWA Midwest, he turned out to be a manager for Ryan Paz.
The ref in the ring right now?
He turned out to be a manager for Ryan
Oh,
Paz.
Master J, that's him, huh?
Yeah.
That's before he dyed his hair red.
There you go.
Is he in the studio yet?
No, but he's
sniffing around. He'll get mad at you for talking about him.
He needs
and
to
I'll
be
tell
here
him you
pretty
did it.
soon.
You talked about it.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm going to tell him you did it. Okay, CM Punk gets, wait a minute, reversal.
Trying to roll him up.
Danny Dominion hurt his hand.
Oh, big clothesline by Ace
was.
Steel. You got a good attended crowd here. The fans were, into it. I do remember this because obviously I filmed
Where
the
was
show.
it?
It was at the Holiday Inn in Hillside, right off of I-290.
Where they did a lot of shows.
Yeah.
You've had a lot of footage from there over the years.
Mm-hmm. And granted, they drew very well until WWZ kind of took over and started running into their places, and then Ed Schumann came back with the NWA Midwest, which ran out there in Streamwood.
So they were kind of at war.
I wouldn't say a war, but they kind of, they worked together, then they split off, then they'd work together, then they split off. I mean, who knows? I mean,
interesting, but always some top talent at NWA Midwest or WWZ.
Yeah, WWZ really knew how to put a good show together, and I was very fortunate to cover a lot of their shows and do their production.
Whatever happened to Mike Bonomo?
Who knows?
Good guy.
I
always enjoyed him.
I remember him. I remember running into him a couple of times, when I first got into the business, and trying to, of course, get booked like anybody else, the referee and stuff like that. But I guess things really turned south, after a while.
He had a nice little run there with the Ritchard thing in the SEL. And the TV promotion, they did some really good shows and were able to really promote some of their characters. They were very WWF-ish at the time.
Yes.
They had a Rikishi guy. They just did the things that were very much like what was happening on WWF. But fault them for that if you will. But the fans seemed to like it and paid to see him and enjoyed the shows. So here we go. Back to this match. Danny Dominion in there snatching up CM Punk. Big forearm to the face. Dominion snatches Punk, whips him in. Now, Danny Dominion is one big, tough dude, but C.M. Punk, I mean, this is probably in the more formidable, developmental area of his career. But C.M. Punk has really put together an arsenal. I mean, he will kick you, he will punch you. His Muay Thai kickboxing moves he throws in there, you just, it's off the chain. Okay, wait a minute here. Place is going up for grabs.
Colt Cabana turning around, taking care of Ace Steel now. Coming up, getting a hold of Danny Dominion, spinning him around, slamming him down.
That's it.
Big boot, sends him off, ducks the clothesline, gets him up. What do we see here?
Whoa!
Oh, big sit-down power slam. 1, 2. Oh, almost. But as anybody says, and it knows that their Chicago wrestling history, that Danny Dominion and Ace Steel ran, once they left the Windy City area, they ran the Steel Domain along with Eric Priest.
Right.
And turned out some top talent.
Yes, they did.
I tell you, that's one guy I miss is Eric Priest. I miss Eric Priest.
What's Eric doing lately?
Well, actually, he just left the business and went to devote his time to family and work and things like that. Yes, and
that's a shame. He was a great performer and great on the mic, and we'll miss him. Look at these punches getting put into Danny Dominion on the outside. Colt Cabana whips off Ace Steel, goes under, out he goes. Train wreck on the outside. C.M. Punk ascending that stairwell, back into the ring he goes. Ace Steel checking on Danny Dominion.
Because it looks like C.M. Punk moved and Ace Steel ran right in.
Uh-oh, here they go, double flying over the ring. Out into the floor, out into the middle of this banquet hall. Colt Cabana very pleased with himself. There comes Ace Steel with a strike. And there's Polo Pony directing traffic on the outside. Here he goes. Uh-oh, Colt Cabana with a big punch into Ace Steel's head, chops him to the chest, work him on the outside. They're fighting outside, they're fighting on the inside. CM Punk got Danny Dominion for the 1.
2, yep. Almost again.
Face first to the steel barrier on the outside. Ace Steel really put together here. Short kick to Colt Cabana. Ace Steel making his way back around. Wait a minute, look at this. Caught up in the air where he don't want to be. CM Punk gets taken down. Variation of the Doomsday Device for a 1.
2, 3.
And oh my goodness, a big win for Danny Dominion and Ace Steel right here tonight on the mat. Wow, Nicholas H., what a mat classic you brought us once again.
That's it. And like I says, before they made it to you've seen them here today, your stars of tomorrow on the mat.
Wow. We do that on a weekly basis almost.
Almost.
Well, how about
I tell you. Sooner or later, somebody will catch an eye on this show and start helping us out here.
So are you going to tryout camp at IWA Mid-South on the 24th?
Actually, I would like to, but I've got some guests coming in from out of town, so
do you now?
I got to entertain some guests.
Wow, you're like a party animal, Nicholas H.
Oh, there's things that we've got to do. Right. On the mat,
female company, couple of them, female company, couple you could spare. Do you like to share?
But, they're all the way from Tennessee, though.
Share the love. Share that Tennessee love, Nicholas H. You got to share that Tennessee love.
But I do know that on the 24th, On the Mat cameras will be in River Grove for a benefit show that we talked about last week. On the Mat cameras will be there. We've got an On the Mat camera guy that will be out there to make the show. And
benefit show?
It's a benefit show for this gentleman that has multiple sclerosis, and it's going to be at one of the high schools out there in River Grove.
One particular federation or a conglomeration
I think it's a conglomeration of guys.
Very cool. Sounds like fun.
We're going to definitely see. And so make your way out there, ChicagoProWrestling.com. Check it out under the upcoming shows thread, and you'll get all the information about it. Please support your independent wrestling.
Okay, I got to ask you, Nicholas H., just this past weekend, we had this show at Toyota Park. I did not get to go. I had to work my day gig, unfortunately. But nonetheless, from what I heard, Nicholas H., they drew like 3,000 people. You were there. You got to be a referee. But more importantly, the show, I'm not trying to be like Mr. Mark out here or whatever, but I got to ask you, Nicholas H., before the show, Hulk Hogan did an autograph signing for probably, 2-3 hours?
Easy. He was there from 2 to 6.
Okay, so tell me this, Nicholas H. did you meet Hulk Hogan? Was he a nice guy? And was he accessible to the boys in the back?
Actually, yes, I met Hulk Hogan for about a brief 5 to 10 minutes. Shook the hands, seemed to be very appreciative, and pretty much made his rounds through. Pretty
He was
nice
appreciative?
guy.
You shook his hand?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he's like, and this is the funniest thing, he's like, nice to see you, brother. And I'm like, okay, you'll probably never see me again there, Hogan, but thank you very much.
Cool.
I appreciate it. Needless to say, Chris, my son, was a little upset when he found out that I shook Hogan's hand, and he was out there doing camera work for Windy City. So,
wasn't somebody on a couple weeks ago that said Brutus the Beefcake, Brutus the Barber? Were they on the show, or was that backstage banter? That Brutus the Barber Beefcake likes to walk around in back and in the buff. He doesn't like to. He's a Steve Kane, in other words. Was he disrobed out back for more than 10 minutes at a time, or did he conduct himself like a gentleman or a lout in the locker room? I can ask this question, can't I?
Yes, you can. And he did conduct himself, but the one that did like to kind of like show his behind was Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Yeah, now that's I shudder to think.
Yeah,
Nicholas H., I shudder to think.
But
Greg the Hammer's cool dude, though.
Yeah, but who is going to tell Greg the Hammer Valentine to put some pants on?
Greg the Hammer Valentine, at first when you walk up to him, he's like, ah. But once you kind of break into that sphere, once you sit and you actually get his attention, very nice guy, and he knows a lot about the business.
Yes, and we will definitely be bringing some more Windy City footage from Toyota Park. We've got some footage coming up from CLPW, and Nicholas H. is working on getting a few other things going here. So I tell you what, we have had a fun-filled night of the independent classics of the night, of the week, I should say. I mean, this is some good stuff that I'm glad that the On Demand Archives could house and show everybody.
Yes, it was. It was a great night once again. Richard T. Sin, Nicholas H. joining you here on our Forum for Independent Sports on the Mat. We'll see you right here, fans, next week.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us.